The White House has just hit China with something no one expected. American workers in Beijing and Shanghai are packing their bags and coming home. They never imagined this. The trade war, not so fierce up until now, has become a veritable Stalingrad. It's the Soma of international relations skullduggery. It's being called an annihilation. China is down on its knees, or it looks that way. What's going on? We don't doubt that you're well aware of China's meteoric economic rise. This is a country that just a few decades ago under communist leader Mao Zedong experienced widespread famine and mass death. The Great Leap Forward was a big stumble backward, and the Cultural Revolution was a cultural contamination straight from a tyrant's mind. Millions upon millions of Chinese people were thrust into abject poverty. Tens of millions of people died as a result. It was showing the slightest amount of skepticism toward the leftist movement. Unsurprisingly, China's greatest enemy at the time, a country Mao said was the wicked imperialist, was the USA. Things have changed since then, but the present relationship is hardly ideal. Certainly not after what just happened. People might queue overnight to be the first to buy an expensive but pretty phone. The thing these enthusiasts should predicate is what's inside, not what it looks like. It's the chips that count, and if you have control over the chip business, you have the power. What just happened is the US tried to mess up China's chip world. Almost overnight, the US introduced new rules, making it really hard for China to import what the media called key chips and components for supercomputers. The White House fears China might use such technology for advanced military capabilities. After all, you need the best electronic components and chips for the best weapons. Still, is it really all about weapons? It's obviously more than that. It's about making China hurt economically. Let us explain. Taking chips away from China is a huge deal that will greatly hamper Chinese technology. As one analyst said to CNBC, there is no going back to the way things were. With the latest action, the chasm between the US and China has now expanded to the point of no return. If US companies want to sell China such technology, they'll have to get a license first, and we're sure getting a license won't be so easy. This is an empty shell without the chips. So if China can't get a hold of the chips it needs, what's going to happen to its electronics industry? From now on, China will really struggle to get the most advanced chips, which means it'll fall behind in areas such as artificial intelligence and quantum computing, not to mention making any kind of advanced electronic devices. The US has its own chip giant, Intel, but it is now way behind other countries' manufacturing. Taiwan and South Korea are the giants here, so you might wonder, why is this pseudo-embargo a problem for China? After all, they could just ignore the tech coming out of the US and focus on only those two countries. Well, we just told you what the problem was with that. The new US rules apply to technology, hardware, or software that uses any kind of American tools. For example, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC, is the world's largest semiconductor foundry. Word on the street is that the company is critical to many brands around the world when it comes to making products. Not surprising, given that Taiwan and South Korea make up about 80% of the entire chip foundry market. TSMC uses American products too. When the US was busy trying to kneecap Huawei, Trump used something called the Foreign Direct Product Rule to stop Huawei from getting its chips from TSMC. As you know, this pretty much crippled Huawei's phone business. Now that the US is expanding its economic influence over the sector, what will happen to the rest of China's electronics firms? And what will China do? First of all, it'll be pretty damn angry. What's happening is akin to you having the world's biggest candy business and being told you no longer have access to sugar. China might have to fall back on its homegrown chip giants, which by all accounts aren't even in the same league as the guys in Taiwan.